Welcome back, America. I am Tom Sense, and this is the show where we do not hide from the truth, we headlock it. Tonight, we are cutting through the absolute garbage and bringing you the news the mainstream media is desperate to sweep under the rug. Before we dive into the fire, a quick reminder for everyone watching us right now on YouTube or over on X. You do not have to wait until the end of the broadcast to speak up. Put your questions in the chat at any point during the show, and if it is a real question worth answering, I will take it right then and there in the middle of the news. We do not do softball questions here, and we sure do not do noise, so bring your best. Now, let us get into it. We start tonight with a man who seems to think he is entirely above the law, the former high priest of lockdowns himself, Dr. Anthony Fauci. On Friday, August 14th, 2026, an attorney representing Dr. Fauci formally declined a request from Republican Senator Ron Johnson, the chairman of the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, to voluntarily testify again. This refusal opens up a massive new battlefront in the Republican-led investigations into how this man handled the COVID-19 pandemic. Let us not forget what happened just a few weeks ago on July 29th, when Fauci sat before a Senate panel and invoked the Fifth Amendment 111 times. 111 times! That performance prompted the panel to vote to hold him in contempt of Congress, and now state-level subpoenas are flying in Florida, Alabama, and Louisiana. Yet, his lawyer has the nerve to argue that asking him to show up again would impermissibly harass or degrade him for political purposes. If public servants are too fragile to answer questions about the trillions of dollars they spent and the millions of lives they disrupted, we should probably stop calling them public servants and start calling them rulers. Republicans are absolutely right to push for more oversight here. If you did nothing wrong, you do not need to hide behind your lawyer and plead the fifth 111 times. The American people deserve real transparency, not a hide-and-seek game from the bureaucrats who ran our lives. Next up, President Donald Trump is taking the fight straight to the Empire State. On Friday, August 14th, 2026, President Trump officially endorsed Republican challenger Saritha Komatireddy for New York Attorney General on Truth Social. In a blistering statement, the president labeled the Democratic incumbent Letitia James as the most corrupt attorney general in the country and accused her, along with Governor Kathy Hochul, of running New York straight to hell. Let us look at who is running here. Komatireddy is a highly qualified former federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of New York, and she even clerked for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. She is running to unseat James this November, and she welcomed the president's endorsement with open arms. Komatireddy rightly pointed out that James has completely weaponized her office to target political opponents instead of actually fighting real crime on the streets. Of course, the Democrats are already crying foul, claiming this endorsement is just retaliation for the civil fraud case James brought against Trump and his businesses. If New York Democrats are so deeply concerned about politicians using their legal power to carry out personal grudges, they might want to take a very long look in the mirror. Letitia James built her entire career on a promise to get Trump, and now she is shocked that voters want an actual prosecutor instead of a political hitman. New York has a real chance to clean house, and Komatireddy has the backing to make it happen. Turning now to some serious and sober news out of the Pacific. On Sunday, August 16th, 2026, Tropical Storm Lala moved along the Hawaiian island chain after weakening slightly from a Category 1 hurricane overnight. The storm battered the Big Island with torrential rains, high winds of 65 miles per hour, and major threats of mudslides. Hawaii Governor Josh Green confirmed the tragic news that at least one person has died in a car accident in the South Point area of the Big Island. Our thoughts and prayers are with that family tonight. The storm has also knocked out power for more than 130,000 utility customers across the three largest islands. The situation on the ground remains incredibly dangerous, with flash floods sweeping several occupied homes completely off their foundations in Naʻalahu and Waiohunu. This has triggered an intense, multi-agency search and rescue mission involving the National Guard and the Coast Guard to find survivors and get people to safety. Although the eye of the storm passed just south of the island's southern tip, avoiding a direct hit, the danger is far from over. Strong winds and flash flood alerts remain active across the state. Emergency crews are working around the clock to restore power and assist families who have lost everything. We are keeping a close watch on this situation, and we urge everyone in the affected areas to listen to local authorities and stay off the roads as the recovery begins. Now to a deeply disturbing and hostile move from the Middle East. On Sunday, August 16th, 2026, Iran's military announced that it is offering a financial bounty equivalent to $30,000 for the capture or killing of any United States soldier in the region. Iran's army chief, Amir Hatami, claimed this sick incentive program was created because of a large number of requests from Iranian citizens who want to support the military's efforts. In a bizarre twist, the military announced they will double the reward to $60,000 if the act is carried out by a woman. Hatami is demanding that the United States immediately vacate the Middle East. Let us be very clear about what is happening here. This bounty, combined with Iran's recent laws targeting journalists who talk to foreign media, is a massive escalation while the region is already in a state of war. If the Iranian regime honestly believes $30,000 is enough to scare American service members, they completely misunderstand the courage of the United States military. Our troops are not targets for a state-sponsored hit job, and this kind of behavior from Tehran shows exactly why we need strong, unwavering leadership in Washington. We must make it absolutely clear to the regime in Iran that any attempt to harm an American soldier will be met with overwhelming, devastating force. There can be no compromise when it comes to protecting our men and women in uniform. Moving back home to Florida, where a local business just drew a very clear line in the sand. A South Florida event venue suddenly canceled a scheduled campaign rally featuring Progressive Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib on Friday, August 14th, 2026. The venue, Fort Lauderdale, cited increased security concerns for the cancellation, noting that as a Jewish-owned business, its values and commitment to the Jewish community are deeply important. This decision came after State Representative Michael Gottlieb, who chairs the Florida Legislative Jewish Caucus, publicly called the rally an anti-Jew gathering. The event, called Chomp the Oligarchy, was organized by progressives, including Gen Z for Change, to support far-left candidates ahead of the Florida primary on August 18th. The progressive organizers are furious, calling the cancellation a surrender to an Islamophobic intimidation campaign. If you build your entire political brand on attacking a specific group of people, you should not be shocked when those people do not want to rent you their hall to host your party. It is called the free market, and business owners have every right to decide who they do business with. Rashida Tlaib and her allies can complain all they want, but the people of Florida are making it clear that they have zero interest in hosting division and hostility in their communities. This is a big win for common sense and local businesses standing up for their values. Finally tonight, the Trump administration's energy department is facing heavy fire from the left, and frankly, it is a beautiful sight to behold. Energy Secretary Chris Wright is under scrutiny for freezing or canceling billions of dollars in federal grants aimed at upgrading the power grid. This funding was part of the Grid Resilience and Innovation Partnerships Program, which was set up under the 2021 Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. The Trump administration has targeted these funds as part of the radical left's climate agenda. Because of the freeze, several projects have been disrupted, including an outage reduction plan in Wisconsin and smart meter programs in California. The critics are crying political retribution, claiming the administration is targeting blue states. Some grant recipients have already run to the courts and gotten favorable rulings, and more utility companies are preparing to sue. If these utility companies are so incredibly passionate about securing their power grids, maybe they should try spending their own record profits on maintenance instead of waiting for a federal handout. The American taxpayer is not an open checkbook for every green energy fantasy the previous administration shoved into a massive bill. Secretary Wright is doing exactly what he was hired to do, protecting taxpayer dollars and stopping the federal government from funding the left's climate agenda. If the grid needs fixing, let the power companies pay for it themselves instead of demanding a hardworking American's paycheck to do it. That is our show for tonight, America. Thank you for tuning in, for asking the tough questions, and for standing up for this country. We will see you right back here next time on The Tom Sense Show. Good night, and God bless.